Okay, so today I'm going to go through a couple replays of some Darkglare Warlock versus Paladin games that I was sent by CyberSjors on Reddit. So we're just going to get right into them. It's pretty good actually because I don't have a compilation of Paladin games on my channel, so hopefully we can get some good games in against Paladin. I think he said that they were all losses, so hopefully we'll be able to give you some good tips. And hopefully, it doesn't feel like I'm beating up on you too much if I disagree with your play. And also remember, this is just one guy's opinion, and I might not even be right. So let's just get into it. To start, I would keep the tour guide. I think there is sometimes against Paladin. Sometimes I like to keep a soul shear, like if I'm on the coin and I have some other good options for the early game, like if I have a really premium hand, I think going like this, I definitely pitch it away. But one of our biggest problems, one of our top priorities in the early game is to shore up the board, and Aldor Attendant in particular gives us a lot of trouble because Aldor Attendant plus Libram clears all of our deck very handily. Like it's straight up a value trades our Flame Imp, and then we have to put another 1-drop into it. Or if they have a Hand of a Doll, they can actually rip through like maybe 2 or 3 of our 1-drops if we have to be playing ones that only have one attack. So it can actually be kind of troublesome for us in the early game, and snowball out of control if we really just let them snowball it. If they have first day of school, those are much easier to deal with. So we definitely always are trying to have some early game presence. So I would like to keep the tour guide, especially because it combos well with the rest of our deck, and if we don't end up getting anything else good in our mulligan, we can use it to just kind of tap on 1 and tap on 2. And it's not the worst thing in the world. So we end up getting the tour guide back. Nightshade Matrons and Rain of Fire. This hand is horrible, so we really need to be prioritizing drawing some good cards. So we're going to be tapping on 1. We're probably going to be tapping on 2, and hopefully we're not going to get blown out too bad by their early game, because we're definitely behind the 8 ball right now, where we want to be in terms of our hand. So he has an Aldor Attendant. We're definitely going to be life tapping. We might end up having to use the Soulfire on the Aldor Attendant at some point. We'll see about that. Yeah, because he has a Hand of a Doll. Okay, definitely like Cannerthod. So I'm going to say, first of all, that I don't have Cannerthod and I've never played with him, so I'm not quite sure to what extent you're supposed to just change your whole game plan to, use him. So I might not have the best insights as far as this card goes, but I think definitely here I would be liking to play Cannerthod, and I might even be considering the Soulfire here because the rest of our hand is not super important. I don't really want to lose a Soul Shear, but Soulfire and Soul Shear are doing the same thing, so it's one cheaper, that's fine. The Raised Dead I kind of want because our board is pretty decent with the Raised Dead, but it's not the end of the world, especially since we have nothing to combo with. The Rain of Fire I don't actually even play in my deck, so I don't have the best insights for this card either, but especially against the Paladin matchup, I don't think we're too eager to have the Rain of Fire necessarily, because we're basically trying to keep the board clear at all times. And then of course we can afford to lose one of these Nightshade Matrons if we absolutely have to, because we really need to keep this board clear. Next turn, he's not really threatening anything except maybe like coin Blessing of Kings, which can be kind of tough to deal with, but we do run 2 Brittlebone Destroyers, so they might be a little bit wary to do something like that. They'd probably rather develop a minion like this High Abyss, for example. So I don't necessarily mind losing the Nightshade that I might not be able to get use out of both anyway. Although next turn we are looking at going Nightshade, discard Nightshade if we don't have Hand of Gul'dan or anything like that. So I think I'm actually down with Soulfiring if you want to. Okay, you did Soulfire. I do like Soulfiring this. It's really a big threat for us right now. And we're protecting our Cannerthod, which is protecting the rest of our hand, possibly. Okay. So here we get the second Soul Shear. Not really the best. We're really looking this turn at either Soul Shear tap and then clear with the Cannerthod. We could double Soul Shear. We could Matron, which also kind of sucks. I think I'm probably biggest fan of Soul Shear tap. Just because the problem if we go Soul Shear, and protect the Cannerthod is we just still have nothing to do next turn. We really need to be tapping into options and things that we can do. Like, if we just get a Hand of Gul'dan, all of a sudden our whole game plan is opened up. So I'd rather try and tap into that. If we can tap into, like, if we can get like a Darkglare for next turn, that's also really good with our hand. So like, but other than that, this hand is like locked. So I think I would prioritize drawing a card over protecting Canderthot in this instance. Although double Soul Shear does look pretty appetizing here, I guess. I think I'd rather tap. Okay, so you went with the double Soul Shear. I mean, it's not like there's anything wrong with the double Soul Shear. We're still always playing with, our hand is kind of clunky, and we need to draw a couple cards that are going to unlock the rest of the hand. Like, if we get a Darkglare, if we get a Disease Vulture, if we get a Hand of Gul'dan, any of these cards are like super good for us right now. And so, and so we absolutely are already playing to the idea of like, we want to draw them. My only thing is, I really, really want to draw them. And at this point, I'm willing to concede the whole board at this time just so that I can get those, because, like, for example, like, his power plays on turn 4 are going to be Zealot, which is going to clear this Canderthot anyway, or like maybe High Abyss, in which case, if he goes with a High Abyss, I really want to be finding like a Brittle Bone Destroyer. So this Canderthot isn't doing too much for me right now, especially because it's not like we're threatening to kill him before he can start like using his hopes to gain his health back. So that's just something to consider. Wow, so he went first day of school without High Abyss while we have no hand. I think that's a huge misplay. But that's okay. He's going to go with Risky Skipper here, okay. Okay. Spirit Jailer, kind of trash. I think we're just looking at tap Jailer Matron right now, and then probably clear this and this. Yeesh. Double raise that. It's gonna be annoying. This is just really, we're like in a really, this is a really rough position to be in against Paladin. So the fact that we're already here, it's like unlikely that we're gonna pull it off from here. Unfortunately, sometimes you just don't draw all of your good cards, and sometimes you just draw weird combinations like double Raise Dead, double Matron. You never get a Vulture or a Darkglare to activate your stuff. You never get a Hand of Gul'dan. Sometimes it's just how the deck gets stacked. But like, our opponent is definitely letting us back into the game by 2 turns in a row, ignoring the High Abyss. I guess he just really wants to get the Zealot down here to clear this 5/4, but this thing is just gathering dust in his hand. Could have just been dust in his collection if you're not going to play it. Okay, Darkglare, that's an amazing top deck. I mean, it's good enough right now. Canderthot, Prime. So we can't actually play that next turn unless we get like a Canderthot off the Raise Dead, which we're going to go Raise Dead anyway. Let's see what we get from that. Okay, 5. We have 5 mana. If we Raise Dead again, we can possibly get a Matron. Is that something to consider? Maybe we want to go Canderthot, Tour Guide, Matron, discard the Canderthot Prime, that's fine. And then we can clear here. And then next turn he probably has to go True Silver into the Darkglare and this into the Matron. And then we're a little bit like, our hand is done. We have no cards in hand at that point. Is that something we really want to do? Maybe we just play the Canderthot and we actually save the Raise Dead and try and stick something next turn? I don't know, because like, I don't know, it's really rough. It's actually really rough. Maybe we can dump the whole hand because we do have the Tour Guide, so like maybe next turn if we like draw a Disease Vulture or something, we can still combo with the life tap, but it's rough. It's rough. Okay, so that's all we do. Okay, we're saving these. Okay, I can get down with that. Finally plays the Abyss with the coin. Of course. Of course. This is done now. Do you even run Shadow Flame? This is one of the primary reasons that I run Shadow Flame, is like something like this, ridiculous. You're going to get blown out if you don't have Shadow Flame Giant, which I mean, you don't have Shadow Flame Giant anyway, but Yeah, this is something that we can't overcome. This is just too much tempo on his thing. So High Abyss actually ended up being a game-winning play, even though I think he could have won the game if he played it earlier. But there's just nothing we can do. We're done here. Like, maybe he's somehow letting us back in with Canrithad, but not really. Here's the hand, finally. Yeah. What can we raise that into? We can raise that into second Matron. We could play a second Matron, yep. And then the Matron can clear that. We can discard the hand. Hopefully we're going to pick up something else, but this is most likely done here. There's the Matron. Can we... Yeah, we can Brittlebone the 8/8. But unfortunately, he's still got too much over here. Is that incorrect? Can we not do that? Oh, yeah, we couldn't Brittlebone. I thought we could Flame Imp and then Brittlebone. Okay. Yeah, it's all good. Sometimes they just get us. That was fine. I think the only thing to really be considering is, like, here in this early game, when you see that your hand is just so garbage, and, like, you really feel like you're playing on the back foot by having to Soulfire and things like that, really try and look for opportunities to refill with the tap. Like, I think here on this turn, I think it would have probably been better to Soul Shear tap than to double shear, but I can't really say that you played poorly in this game necessarily at all, because we just kind of just got dealt a bad hand, so that's fine. Let's go on to the next game here. So here, I would be pitching this entire hand. I would maybe consider keeping the Flame Imp, just because Flame Imp is good against the Aldor Attendant, but it's not as good when we're going second, because he can Aldor Attendant on 1 and then buff on 2 and kill our Flame Imp. Even when we're going first, they can like Aldor Attendant coin buff. It's not really the best. So maybe you can just pitch this whole hand. Brittlebone is definitely a trap. I know you want it against this deck, but you don't really need it until 5 or 6, and we really want to be playing them aggressively, not reactively. So we really want to be able to have a big board developed, and then we're using the Brittlebones to to make high tempo turns and really just close the game out as quickly as possible. You do not need this card in the early game, so this is a horrible keep. Our plan is to draw through half of our deck, like, by turn 5 if we can, ideally. In an ideal world, we're drawing a lot, right? So there's usually a good chance that you're going to have a Brittlebone by the time you need it. I would definitely pitch this. Spirit Jailer, I don't think is necessary to keep, especially it doesn't really line up well against their Aldor Attendant. Maybe it lines up okay against some first day of school stuff, but I'd rather just really look for my like my Darkglare. Like, if I have like a tour guide Darkglare opening hand with the coin, like, things can get out of hand really quickly for the Paladin. So I definitely would be pitching this entire hand, maybe considering to keep the Flame Imp, but it's really... With this hand, I might just pitch everything. Okay. So, like, here's something to think about. Let's see how long we sit on this Brittlebone Destroyer. I mean, we might actually even need it on... We might actually even get to use it on 3. And I see that you kept them together. I understand that, to have the Soul Fragment synergy, but nah, I don't really like it. We're not really planning to activate the Soul Fragments in such a way that we can coin Brittlebone on 3. We don't even need to do that, you know? So I would just get rid of both of them and get a better chance of opening something strong. Especially now that we have the Matron and the Merchant. Like, if we just had a hand of Goldana, it would be sick. Tapping's fine here. Next turn we might end up Matroning or something like that, so it's nice to look for the hand of Goldana even more. What are you tapping for here? What are you trying to find at this point? The way I'm thinking about this is he's really snowballing the board against us, and we're getting to the point where he can, like, start hitting us with the Blessing of Kings. The Blessing of Authority can be coming on 5. Like, Lightforged Zealot can be coming down next turn to really control the board. So, like, he's like definitely controlling the board. in a really rough way for us. So we would really like to start kind of vomiting stuff onto the board. I was even kind of considering last turn going merchant. Excuse me, just because I wanted to put some stats on the board to contest this. I do like to tap over that, but here I definitely would be wanting to put something on the board. We could consider like Flame Imp, Voidwalker, and then like go face. Probably not going to clear the Divine Chill unless we can clear the whole minion. In that case, we could go coin Nightshade Matron. We lose either the Brittlebone or the Vulture. I mean, it does kind of suck to lose the Brittlebone, and yeah, I mean, this hand doesn't really benefit from Vulture, so you kind of would rather hit the Vulture because Vulture Flame Imp is like turn 5 or 2 turns away from that, and we really need to make a play for the board like ASAP. Nightshade Matron is a little bit better into Lightforge Zealot in particular. When you don't have to, when you can take more than just 1 damage, but unfortunately here he could just clear there with a Nightshade, so maybe we're looking at like a Flame Imp, Voidwalker kind of situation, and then next turn we're really maybe looking to go for a Nightshade Matron. I just don't know if we want to be tapping right now, because I'm not quite sure what we're looking for on this specific turn if we tap, you know what I mean? But maybe you're just gonna go like tap Flame Imp. Okay, that might be good enough here. Oh, Soul Shard is nice. That's kind of cool. Maybe now we coin Soul Shear. Sorry, not Soul Shard. Soul Shear is actually pretty good here. I would probably coin Soul Shear now. Yeah, I like that. Sometimes you just gotta trust your deck, yo. Sometimes the heart of the card just comes and gets you back like that. You know what I mean? And like even if you really, really were feeling like pressed by that Goody Two Shields and you really wanted to clear it off ASAP, like you could have even soul fired as well. So interestingly enough, he has the High Abyss on 4, and if he's able to combo it, maybe we can possibly actually get our Soul Fragment Brittlebone going next turn. But it looks like he has no combo for it. So let's see what you do here. Well, let's see how you play it. Again, tapping. Tapping a lot. Why tapping here? Let's see. You're really looking for hand. Why? But I feel like you're looking for hand so that you can hit the Expired Merchant into hand. But the whole point of having hand is, the whole point of finding hand is to fill your hand with like big, like options. You know what I mean? So like, you already have a lot of options here. Like you could have tempoed out a Disease Vulture to try and like suck up something that he might do like with the High Abyss next turn. You could set up the Tour Guide for the next turn. You could be like vomiting stats with like Flame Imp, Tour Guide, Expired Merchant, so that you can be ready for the next turn when he has some. Because like if we can't clear this High Abyss, which we can't clear the High Abyss, right? Unless we're gonna go like, we can't even Nightshade Matron Soulfire. So since we can't clear this Abyss right now, we need to prepare for next turn, because next turn he could have a High Abyss plus like Hope. Maybe he ends up triggering Hope, and like going into 5 mana, the Blessing of Authority is already live. So like, since we can't clear this, he can just Blessing of Authority this, and then like High Abyss, get the Blessing of Authority on that, or like the Hope or something like that. These are not even like, they're high rolls, but they're not even that high roller. Like they're very reasonable within the realm of possibility of coming down and happening to us next turn. So like, we kind of want to prepare for that, slash possibly, give him like a tough time clearing our whole board so that he can't take the most advantage of that. So going a little bit wide is kind of useful here, but unfortunately, since we can't clear this High Abyss this turn, we're actually kind of in a tough spot. So we're just setting up for the we're setting up for next turn so that we can like Brittlebone. Okay. Yeesh. This is probably done now, because we're gonna have to like Brittlebone this and then clear this with the Soulfire possibly, but this 9/10 is just always gonna get us. Again, this is what the Shadow Flame is for, in case something like this happens and you get behind. Soul Fragment, nice. Raised Dead, if. This is rough. We're in a rough spot. You definitely should be Flame Imping here. This Flame Imp has sat in our hand for I don't know how many turns, and it's just never going to get played. It's not really worthwhile to save it this long to like combo with your Darkglare or your Diseased Vulture, because it's just, first of all, it's so expensive. We just can never afford to like do this play anymore because the board is gone. We just have no way to have the board. And like we can even see like he's definitely going to probably Braggart this turn. He's probably going to go Braggart, Zealot, and the reason we don't know these three is because we're going to have to concede like pretty much next turn. So unfortunately, I think trying to combo the Flame Imp with like these cards is like it's just not going to work out, especially because it's dealing 3 damage to us, and like we're getting to the point where our health is going to be very, very premium resource. So I think it would have been much better to play this Flame Imp earlier in the game, and maybe allowed it to like contest something. Maybe it doesn't get a kill or anything, but maybe it can soften something up such that maybe you can like come over with a Soulfire at some point and do something like that. But I don't think we're going to end up really being able to use this, unfortunately, this game. So I don't think that we should be keeping it still. Like now we're at 12, we just can't even Flame Imp. I don't think there's anything in our deck that can get us out of this mess, unfortunately. Brittlebone could not have saved this, so yeah, it doesn't. Unfortunately, the Darkglare can't really get anything done here. I think where this game went wrong was, first of all, in the mulligan. I think Brittlebone is really not worth keeping, because if you have to Brittlebone defensively, you're probably not in a good spot. This game, like, once Paladin takes the board from us, they have so many buffs and things like that we just can't deal. The only way we can deal with a big buff board is Shadow Flame, and you don't run that in your deck. And even that doesn't work that well, because all they have to do is like put a Libram of Wisdom and a Braggart down, and then you can't Shadow Flame your Giant to clear that. So Brittlebone, you only want Brittlebone if you're already holding the board and tempoing out. So like, if you wanted to keep Brittlebone, you probably should have kept the Flame Imp as well, so that maybe you could have even full kept this hand so that you could like play Flame Imp, and then on turn 2 like Spirit Jailer and maybe like another one drop. You probably don't keep the Raised Dead. See, I just don't like keeping any of this. I don't want to even try and justify keeping the Raised Dead and all that kind of stuff. Just get rid of this whole hand, because we really want to get our Darkglare. If you want to keep a 1-drop, cool. I'd probably rather keep the Flame Imp than the Spirit Jailer here. But we really definitely want to have our strong power cards, especially when we're on the coin. Like, the coin is like a super valuable resource to us, because we can really take advantage of it early with our mana cheat. So there's that one. It's been about 11 minutes per game. I don't know if... Let's just do the third one. I won't make another video for it. Okay. Last game here. So we're pitching Tour Guide and keeping Hand of Gul'dan. This is hard for me to really assess, because again, I don't have Canver Thought. If I didn't have Canver Thought, I would be pitching these two. I'm playing like Shadow Flame instead of Canver Thought, so I'd be pitching Shadow Flame and Flame Imp and keeping the Tour Guide in Hand of Gul'dan. This is probably cool. You could maybe even keep the... I guess you want to pitch the Tour Guide because you really want to find maximum demons, 1-drop demons. Maybe you even are supposed to pitch the Hand of Gul'dan then, in the interest of getting that, because it is true, like, I think Canver Thought can single-handedly probably win this game if you can, like, if you can just vomit out a big hand of stats on, like, turn 1. So maybe you can even pitch the Hand of Gul'dan, but I do like to keep it, because the problem that I think that Canver Thought decks have is you vomit your whole hand and then you don't have any reload. And for that reason, I think Tour Guide is also reasonable to consider keeping, but I do think that we want to find more ways to activate the value on Canver Thought, so pitching Tour Guide instead of hand, that makes sense. Matron not the best pickup, but at least it combos with our Hand of Gul'dan. Maybe now we don't coin Canterthod Flame Imp. I guess we can coin Canterthod Flame Imp because we're gonna tap next turn, and then we're hoping that the Nightshade Matron works on 3. But I don't know if it's realistic to expect that, because all he has to do is buff this Aldor Tenant, which we're not killing this turn, and then kill our Canterthod, and then we have no turn 3 play. So I don't think we actually are coining Canterthod here. I think we're actually probably gonna play the Flame Imp. I guess you could pass if you really want to keep the Flame Imp for the power play. I don't know how important that is, but I'd probably just be playing Flame Imp here. Libra and Genarch, interesting. That sucks for us. That's like pretty good for him because it can help him control the board a little better. See, and now we don't really have anything to do. Oof, this is a horrible draw. And now we don't really have anything to do next turn. I would have rather kept the coin so that we could coin Matron on 3 and guarantee we draw some good stuff. I think as played, we're a little bit screwed here because now our Flame Imp doesn't line up against anything here. We're probably just going to have to trade it here, and we're probably going to tap this turn, and then next turn he has this, and on 3 he can like shields. He has the shields, and our hand is like, ugh, we unfortunately just can't deal with it next turn. We might have lost the game by coining Canterthod, to be honest here. I don't think you want to go face here because we don't want this trade to... We don't want to give him this trade because some of our, like... Obviously, this is looking like multiple turns ahead now, but, like, one health is easier for our guys to deal with than 2 health. And we absolutely need to keep his board clear, kind of, at some point. So probably just take this trade instead of letting him have this and then even, like, buffing this up again. If he doesn't have... Like, if he doesn't have the goody 2 shields, like, this turn he probably has to, like... tap buff, so this becomes either a 3/3 or he gets 2/2/2s. He gets 2/2/2s, yeah. So he has the goody 2 shields. Here we finally have the expired merchant to combo with the hand, but not much else to do. Obviously we got to do that. Next turn we're gonna probably go matron into the second hand. I mean, this might be recoverable for sure. This is pretty good. We got some good stuff here. I think this is definitely recoverable. We don't have to lose this game anymore. See, sometimes you just get the good stuff. Like, all it takes is a merchant into a hand to, like, make it happen. So I definitely understand what seems to me you sometimes just playing to drawing your outs. And, like, that's definitely viable with a deck like this because we have so many quote-unquote outs that you can just draw into. But I definitely do think that that's kind of the problem with the vomiting your Canterthod play, is you then have to lean a little bit harder into, like, drawing your outs with your deck. Here I think we're in a pretty good spot. I think we're in a pretty decent position. Unfortunately, this Fiery War Axe is just going to do work, but... Whoa! Did he not get the Divine Shield back? What's up with that? This is unnecessary. He definitely should be... Okay, that's fine. So now we're looking at Darkglare, Raise Dead, Flame Imp, Matron? No, okay, so we want to go Darkglare, Raise Dead. We'll have 3 mana. We tap, we'll have 3 mana. We play Flame Imp, we have 4 mana. We Nightshade Matron, and then we can clear something. I'm trying to fit in the Soul Shear because it would be really nice if we could Soul Shear this and go here. But it doesn't look like we can do that unless we, like, tap into another Raise Dead or something like that. Did we lose a Tour Guide already in this matchup? I don't think we did. Oh, we didn't even get the Flame Imp. That sucks. Yeah, then we just Soul Shear. That's fine. You're prioritizing Soul Shearing over Canterthod and this. Yep, okay, that's cool. Especially since he didn't... like, get the Divine Shield back. It's a good time to just pick it off right now. Kind of sucks we weren't able to hit the Flame Imp because Nightshade Matron would have been a lot better than what we ended up having to do, but that's the roll. Hang on, we did play a Flame Imp, right? Yeah, that's just the roll sometimes. It happens that way. Truth Seeker, Libram. He can't clear the glare, which is very nice. Oh, of course he can, because he has the freaking War Axe. Oh, this guy is really doing work on us. This thing is still here. So we draw the Canathod Prime. Oh no, that's horrible. I don't know. Is Canathod really that... I don't want to diss on Canathod because apparently he's super good and he definitely seems like he can be super good, but our hand has just been annihilated by drawing this Canathod because we probably could have dealt with... We've taken enough damage that the Flesh Giant is no problem, but now we have to Matron our Canathod away. We don't even get to draw. That's really, really, really rough, especially because we can't even clear this with the Matron. But we probably still have to just Canathod Matron, but it sucks. That sucks. That's a really bad draw. That was very unfortunate for you. Consecrate. Yeah, so we know he doesn't have any buffs. That's pretty good for us. Because maybe we can still... Actually, it's probably worse that he doesn't have buffs, because buffs we can deal with a single card, Brittlebone. A wide ward is a little bit more tricky for us to clear. Okay, finally we can Matron. Oh. Yeah, I get that you're doing this so that we can get a higher chance of drawing the Soul Fragments, but is there something like... Maybe we would want the Soul Shear, because Soul Shear can clear the 4-1 and the 3-2 or the 2-2 or something else. Like, we can clear a couple different things with the Soul Shear. Whereas now we're going to only be able to clear this with the Nightshade Matron, and then we're going to have a 5-1, a 1-3, and I'm guessing another 1-3. And he just clears 1-1-3, he clears 2 1-3s, and he only, well, I guess he clears the 5-1. And he leaves up 1-1-3. I don't know. I guess that's okay too. Yeah, the Voidwalker. I don't know. I think unfortunately, we don't even hit any of our Soul Fragments, so I guess it's probably okay-ish either way. It's probably not the end of the world that we didn't get to Soul Shear here. But that's definitely something to consider. But it's also very reasonable to shuffle the fragments into the deck. Although, is it because... Are we in a position where we really, really need we really, really need to control the board? That's our absolute top priority. And so... I think we can sacrifice a little bit of our health. We get to a point where his maximum burst is only 4. If we take the board... Which, unfortunately, this guy is really threatening to not let us take the board like that and possibly put more damage in. So maybe it is okay to try and protect our face. Yeah, we're conceding now. Yeah, this one kind of got away from us. I don't know if coining... Again, I don't play Counterthought, so I can't say this definitively, but I do think that coining Counterthought was the wrong move and possibly a game-losing play, just because we ended up not having any way to... activate our hand before turn 4. We ended up losing... at this point, he's just got too much pressure on us. We have a tough time recovering a board like this without, our mana cheat, and we just have no mana cheat. We have nothing really going for us here. Unfortunately, even turn 3, hitting the Expired Merchant here, is too slow. It doesn't work for us, right? So I think it would have been better to probably play the Flame Imp on 1, let it get killed on 2 by the Libram of Wisdom, unfortunately. That's the problem, is, if he has any sort of buff for this Aldor Tenant, Canarthod gets killed, and then our hand is completely locked. Funny, we're a hand lock deck, but our hand gets completely locked until turn 4. So I think the coin was definitely a premium resource in this game, that because of the context of our hand, of how clunky our hand was, that we kind of needed to save it and not dump it on turn 1, because it ended up not really doing much for us in the long run anyway. So other than that, it also kind of sucked. Where was it? Here, where we where was it? We raised dead with the Darkglare, and then we got the Voidwalker and the Canarthod. Unfortunately, we couldn't hit a Flame Imp, so that we could also use the Matron. That also possibly could have done a lot for us. Maybe swung the game a little bit more in our favor, possible to win. But other than that, yeah, we didn't draw the Brittle Bones when we needed them, which was really just here, I guess. But yeah, I think, and people like to keep the Disease Vulture in hand in the mulligan, and the reason I pitch it a lot, all the time pretty much, is just because this kind of thing happens where, if you don't get the board early, the Vulture isn't good enough, because you just never would find yourself having a chance to play the 4 mana for the Vulture unless you're and getting value out of it, unless you're tempoing it out to try and distract your opponent who already has the board, and then they run some of their resources into your Vulture, and then you're not really maximizing the value of your Vulture anyway. So I really like to just have a little bit more of an aggressive start. Can't speak to this mulligan if it was good or not good. I think you see why I really like Tour Guide, because when you end up getting a hand like this, Tour Guide is nice so that you can get a couple draws in to kind of possibly get you some more options, or find a way to free up some of your the 3 mana that gets just kind of whiffed here. It doesn't get whiffed because you do have the Merchant, but I don't know, at this point we're he's gotten too much down on us, and it's just really hard for us to recover the board and win the game from here. So this one also kind of got away from us, but I think we could have possibly played a little bit better in the specifically the first couple turns, planning wise. Try and plan your turns. Oftentimes it really works out well for you if you can plan your turns at least a turn or two in advance. And sometimes you can consider assuming you're going to draw certain things off of your hand done, or just off of your taps and things like that, and you can kind of play to those outs. It's a little bit more advanced, but it's certainly once you get a feel for the deck and you really know what every card in your deck is, you can kind of maybe plan for those turns a little bit and slowly and steadily start to pick up try to pick it up. I mean, I guess you're probably playing with HS Replay, so you can see your deck. You're playing with a deck tracker, so you can see your deck at all times, so you can kind of use that to help plan a little bit more in advance as well. As far as your build, I would consider Rain of Fire. I don't know, I haven't played with it, so I don't know how useful it is. For you should, I would be interested to know what you think, why you like Rain of Fire in your deck. For me, it feels like we're always trying to keep control of the board, so Rain of Fire isn't really that great for me, except I'm guessing maybe in the Demon Hunter matchup, maybe that's why you're playing it. I could see it possibly doing some work in the Demon Hunter matchup, but I think against most of these other classes, it's probably not that useful. You could maybe kind of use it as something else. Although, wow, conveniently, it actually does damage your face too. That's actually really kind of cool, kind of a cool mechanic. So maybe it is actually interesting tech. I like that. Very cool. Yeah, and other than that, that I'm running over the Canarthod, I'm running a Shadow Flame, and I guess over your Rain of Fire, I'm running the 3 mana 3/4 destroy a Soul Fragment and deal 3. I like that card. You could consider playing with that if you like. It's a really nice tempo option, and it can be useful in matchups like Paladin and things like that. Anyway, sorry for such a long video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you got some value out of this. I might have, even misplayed in some of the commentary, so let me know if you disagree with anything, or if you have any questions about anything, or would like to talk more about this. Feel free to let me know, and I hope this was somewhat valuable. And again, I'm really sorry for the long video, and I hope it didn't seem like I was beating up on you too much. But hopefully this helps a little bit, and cheers, have a good day, and thanks for watching.